You're watching the Battered Fans Network.
Welcome, everybody, to episode number 28 of the Battered MLS Fans Podcast. I am your host, Daniel Granada, and alongside me, I got Mr. MLS Moves. How are you doing, sir?
Danny, I'm excited, man. I hope that you had a great Christmas, a Merry Christmas, a good New Year. 2024 was a good year for the Battered Herons and Battered MLS, man. You started this channel a couple months ago, and I think 2025 is going to be a better and bigger year for the channel. And I think, man, was this my third appearance in a row?
Yeah, yes, actually it is.
Yeah.
The last one was an impromptu visit, and then so appreciate you taking the time. You ended 2024 with us. You started your channel in 2024.
Yeah,
correct.
I did. Yeah.
And then you skyrocketed. So shout out to you and congratulations with all that. And we're going to be talking some Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, for those of you that don't follow MLS Moves on Twitter, which you should if you haven't already, he is constantly posting about what the MLS could do or should do to grow. Sometimes to the point where people get annoyed because you are trying to push the envelope. How can they improve? Now, the last time we recorded, which was 2 weeks ago, we stumbled upon a topic that we touched on, but then we moved across because we wanted to keep talking about the schedule release. Now, we were talking about Cristiano Ronaldo because I am a teacher. Well, I'm no longer a teacher, but I do work in education. And I am in a school building with many children, and they are all obsessed with Cristiano Ronaldo. It's an obsession. They all do the C celebration for absolutely everything. They'll hit a home run in baseball, and then they'll do the celebration. It's become an obsession. And we had the conversation as to why, and it's because of the kid IShowSpeed. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with IShowSpeed, which most people probably are, but if you're not, he is somebody that is absolutely obsessed with Cristiano Ronaldo. He won 2024 Streamer of the Year. All the young kids obsessed with him. He has 34 million YouTube subs, 27 million IG followers. Like, this kid is like the reason why Ronaldo is still relevant here in the States with the youth. Now, everybody's talking about Ronaldo because now he is a free agent coming up this summer, and nobody expects him to stay in Saudi. So PSG doesn't want him. I know Real Madrid doesn't want him anymore. Manchester United doesn't want him anymore. Will, would you want him in the MLS?
Hell yes, I would. Now, I'll preface this. I'm not a fan of Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm not a Madrid fan. I know you're a Madrid fan. I'm not a fan of his, but I got to be honest, man. We're fans of Major League Soccer. Cristiano Ronaldo would be a huge hit in Major League Soccer, not because people love him, Danny, but because people also that hate him will watch him. No matter what, people are going to watch him play. And, you know, like you said, everybody dude, a good villain is great for the league, right? Now Messi has became the villain just because people don't like Miami because they think they're cheating or whatever the case may be. Messi's not your traditional villain, but he is the villain of Major League Soccer. But Ronaldo would be a true villain because people don't like his attitude and the things he says and the way he carries himself. But man, this would be crazy. Could you imagine if he goes, which we'll talk about this a little bit, maybe some places he would go, but if he was on a Western Conference team, could you imagine like an MLS Cup final, Messi versus Ronaldo, how crazy those numbers would be?
Well, I agree. And we are going to get into what team we think we would best benefit off of. But having, like, let's say over the last 15 years, I'd say, right? The two biggest names in football are Messi and Ronaldo, hands down. And it's like Bloods and Crips, right? If you're a diehard Messi fan, you hate Ronaldo. If you're a diehard Ronaldo fan, you hate Messi. Like, I get it. But you can't deny that having those two names, no matter how old they are, would kill ratings. Like, could you imagine the attention that would come with Ronaldo? And the reason I brought up IShowSpeed is because right now everybody wants to figure out how do we continue to grow the MLS? Like, what are we doing, right? It's not growing fast enough. We got to get the youth. Well, I mean, people, I'd say our age, maybe a little younger. Actually, I'm not sure how old you are. I'm assuming you're around my age. Or maybe like 20s, 30s. They love Messi. But like the young kids, I'm talking like elementary and middle school, they're not into Messi as much across the country as they are into Ronaldo, strictly because of IShowSpeed. I think that you start getting this kid IShowSpeed streaming from stadiums, promoting the MLS, and all of a sudden the MLS skyrockets more than it already has.
Yeah, I agree. So I'll be 30 next month, but anyone from my age to your age, we're pretty much probably on the Messi side. It is kind of weird, man. The I Show Speed's only like 19 years old, and he's got this obsession with Ronaldo. You would think it'd be the opposite, right? Or that he would be a fan of maybe a younger player like Mbappe or Haaland, not someone who's 40 years old. That's a little weird, but yeah, I think that it would definitely help them out. It would help MLS a lot. It would help get some people like I Show Speed maybe to go to some games. I think I Show Speed went to a Miami game for Leagues Cup because it was a joke about him being a little mad or salty or admitting that Messi was good. I think he went to the game against was it Cruz Azul where he hit the game winning free kick? Yeah.
And I remember right before he scored, he said to the camera, if
I think you cut out again. I think the microphone might disconnected again. He's having a couple microphone issues. Not a big deal. We'll get it taken care of. But yeah, I think that would be crazy, Danny, to have someone like that. I Show Speed, like you said, 27, 34 million followers on 2 different platforms. Just eyes that could go to MLS, at least at the bare minimum, watch Ronaldo. Getting these people to subscribe or just to try to watch a game or two of MLS. Man, if Ronaldo came to MLS, I already watch every Inter Miami match that Messi plays in, or I normally watch every Inter Miami game in general, even if Messi's not playing. I'm watching every game Ronaldo plays in if he comes MLS, just to see what happens, right? If he shits the bed or if he does well, I want to see what he does. I want to see if he still has it.
And like you said, a lot of people like to watch a villain. They like to root against the villain. I know, because obviously I started getting a lot more familiar with Messi accounts of people that are just like, they post everything Messi. And if they're not posting Messi, they're posting anti-Ronaldo things.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go with the other mic. But that seems to be what would get people to watch, and I think that would be great for the league. Now, I see a lot of people in the chat saying he can't come to the United States because of a certain case that he has. Now, I thought that had been taken care of. Maybe it hasn't. If that's a roadblock, I don't know. But I think that if that's not impeding the chances of him coming, I definitely think that would be something that the MLS should not just try to get done, but the same way that they paid and helped, maybe they didn't pay, they helped Inter Miami get a deal done with Messi. You got to help a team bring Ronaldo over here.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. If I don't know if you would give him a sweetheart deal like Messi. Like, I don't know if you would give him a share of the Apple revenue, even though he would bring in new subscribers. I think we both agree with it. He would definitely bring some people. So maybe that would be worth it. But I guess if you're dividing the pie between him and Messi, you got to have some left over for yourself. Now, I was talking to, I want to say maybe it was Solana or someone else. I think it was Solana saying that maybe you give him like an ownership stake in a team that he goes to, kind of like they did for Messi. But man, look, even at 40 years old, he'll be 40 in February, Ronaldo, which is crazy. That ages the hell out of probably most of us to think he'll be 40 next month. And that is crazy. But I think he's still more than good enough to play in MLS. Even if you hate Ronaldo, you cannot deny he's still a good player to play in MLS.
Yeah, look, I'm not expecting him to go back to Real Madrid or even Manchester United days of Ronaldo, but I think he could be a serviceable winger or even a 9 on any team. And then, it's a business. The amount of jersey sales and all that comes with. Look, if you're trying to grow MLS, I think that would be the next building block to bring eyes and attention. You bring Ronaldo over here right before 2026, I'm telling you, this place blows up. And then I think I Show Speed, like I said, would be a contributing factor to that.
100%. And you know what else that Ronaldo does that Messi doesn't do? I mean, it is what it is. He's bilingual and he's got a big personality. He'll go on these late night shows and he will talk about the league. Look, we all know he's full of shit talking about the Saudi league, but he is trying to sell it, right? He is trying to sell it. He's trying to convince you that it's better than the French league, which is absolute horseshit. It's not better than the French league, but he's telling you it is. He will come over here. He'll promote MLS. He'll go on late night. He'll sell it. Yeah. Now Messi's not a salesman. We know that he sells. He's more of a lead by action, not by words kind of guy. Now that gets you so far, but if you have both, like you said, 2026, man, if this league has Ronaldo and Messi going to 2026, now that is how you have rocket fuel to really get this thing going. I think the popularity would be off the charts. And like I said, even if he shits the bed, Danny, I still want to watch it. I want to see what happens And how many of us will be comparing? Okay, so you talked about the debate, right? Messi, Ronaldo. You're on one side. You said Bloods or Crips.
That's it.
We'll be comparing every week which player does better. How many goals did Messi have this week? How many did Ronaldo have? How many assists they have? What's their records? Like, that is a storyline that would be so good for Major League Soccer.
I think and somebody said it in the chat earlier. I lost the comment, but somebody said his ego wouldn't allow it. And I could see that. Because if he were to leave the Saudi League, which he kept pushing and said that it's better than the MLS and all that stuff, and all of a sudden he leaves the Saudi League for the MLS, I think that would be a shot to his ego. And I think that might be one of the reasons that maybe he tries not to do it or tries to avoid having to make that move.
But how crazy would that be if he did come to MLS and he was able to win an MLS Cup before Messi? Think about what that would do for his ego, to prove like, hey, Messi, you've been in the league for 2 years or a year and a half. I came over here in 1 year and already surpassed your trophies in this league. I don't know. Ronaldo does like a challenge. He does have a crazy ego, right? Probably the only person that has a bigger ego than him is Zlatan. But I think that maybe he would like the challenge of coming to MLS and saying, yeah, I gave Messi a 2-year head start and I still came here and won more trophies than him. I don't know. I think he wants to come to MLS. There was a rumor several years ago about him going to the LA Galaxy, because the parent company or the team that owns it, AEG, they also own Herbalife, which is their shirt sponsor. It's like that nutritionist thing. He's an ambassador for them, Herbalife. Ronaldo.
So you never believed the Sporting KC rumors?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, him and Ted Lasso were going to Sporting Kansas City. Yeah. But I don't even know if he knows what Kansas City is, to be honest with you. I don't even know if he knows that that's a place. But I think doesn't it feel like he was always destined to be in LA? Like for the Galaxy, maybe sure. LAFC, but the Galaxy for sure. I don't know, man. I think that this could happen. This is the last chance for us to see Ronaldo in MLS. This is it. This is the last chance.
I remember before Ronaldo went to Saudi, there were rumors of him coming to MLS. And then the Messi rumors have always been around since this team's inception. And I remember pictures and rumors about how would it be if Ronaldo and Messi both came to Miami. Now, I couldn't imagine them ever teaming up, but how cool would that be to like see them playing together? I know if you are a Messi hater, you don't want to see Ronaldo on the pitch with them. If you're a Ronaldo hater, same thing with Messi. I get it. But it's not that deep for me. I would have loved to see it. I thought it would have been fun to watch. It didn't happen. But hypothetically, Ronaldo comes. Well, where would you like to see him land? I thought obviously he belongs in LA. He seems like an LA guy. But I'm kind of curious where you think he would best be.
I think that LA is a good destination. I put a post out earlier about maybe San Diego because they have 2 DP spots open. It's Edgar says that they don't have business partnership. My bad. But there's a relationship there. My bad, Edgar. They don't own it, but there is a relationship there. Either way, I think San Diego could be a dark horse, man. We're talking about a pretty big city on the West Coast, on the beach, 2 DP spots open. He could kind of go in there and have his influence because the team's still being built. They have a lot of flexibility left. He could say, hey, I want this guy, that guy, this guy to join me, kind of like what Messi did with Inter Miami in 2023. That's a spot that I could see it. There is no chance. We need to put this to bed. There's no chance Ronaldo's going to Sporting Kansas City, the Sounders, Colorado Rapids, Vancouver Whitecaps. Like, he's not going to any small market team. It's
I always imagined him in the Galaxy. That's what I always pictured him.
Yeah. In the Galaxy, they might be having to move off of their number 9, Jovic, because he won't be a U22 anymore. Once you finish the last year of your contract when you're 25 years old, so he'll be 26 in 2025. He'll no longer be considered a U22, so they might have to move off of him if they can't agree to a new deal. So they might need a number 9, but all their DP spots are filled up. So I don't know if they can make it work. Now, technically, so this is a weird rule because they did it with Facundo Frias, right? He was out. So originally they were using his U22 spot for Redondo, like an injury substitution type deal, right?
They could do it with Ricky Puig.
Yeah, yes, exactly. They'll have an open DP spot because Puig might be out for the year.
But I don't think Ricky Puig is going to be out for it. I think if they do that, they have to designate him out for literally the entire year, and they can't switch that back. I don't know. I would assume that Puig is going to be back towards the end, towards the playoff run.
There's a chance.
If you want to take that chance.
There's a chance. But here's the thing about the Galaxy. If it were me, I would kind of push the envelope. I would sign him, and then when Puig is healthy, then they'll be like, well, you can't activate him because you got 3 DPs. I would be like, okay, stop me. I would do like that's what the Galaxy's know. That's what the Galaxy's been known to do, man, is challenge the league. Like do something like that.
No, well, I could see them possibly doing that, and in the summer moving one of their DPs somewhere else, right? Having them move, and then by then Pooch is ready to come back, and you got that open DP spot left for him. But I definitely want to see it. Now, you said somewhere in the West Coast, San Diego. I think it would be awesome if he were to come and join Orlando.
Ooh,
Now,
Orlando.
now Nani has a history there. They have, I mean, it's a lot of Brazilians out there that speak Portuguese. He's Portuguese. I don't know how the Portuguese population is there, but I know they have a large Brazilian population there that speaks Portuguese. So I think that would work, and it would just be fun, right? Because you could see the pettiness, right? The pettiness right up the road from Messi, make those derbies a lot more exciting. I mean, I don't know. That's where I would want to see him. And if you're talking about money wise, Atlanta could probably pay him. And Atlanta's been a thorn in the side of Miami also. But I would like to see him on the West Coast just for the possibility of a final.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I could see. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. You could think about that, like you said, the Derby, Orlando City. Yeah, Kaká was there as well.
Yeah.
What about in New York City? What about? I mean, if he was, I think. I mean, I wanted to be on the West Coast, but if he was going to come to the East, I think it would be New York. I think it'd be New York City, honestly, because I think he'd want to be in a place like that, a big city, lot to offer, something along those lines.
For example, the Red Bulls, their following isn't as big as you would figure somebody with as much tradition, being back from '96 Metro Stars. They're not as big. Maybe it's because they play in Jersey. I don't know what it is, but their following isn't as big. NYCFC, I think, has a more of a following. They play in New York City. They're going to have their own stadium in Queens, but they just haven't shown that they can go after these big guys. They started off hot, right, with Villa, Pirlo, and Lampard. And I thought, oh, this is going to be something consistently that they do. But once that was done, that was it. Like, they never really brought any huge names again. And maybe, I mean, I can see why you say it's the biggest market in the country, but they just haven't gone after those big whales. Not that Ronaldo's necessarily.
Plus, look who owns them too, right? I mean, CFG owns them. Like, they have the money in troves, right? They could spend whatever they want. And Mr. Krabs brought up a good point. Like, I doubt Ronaldo's going to play on a baseball field because their stadium's not going to be open until 2027. That's right. But that's the market.
Mm-hmm.
That's the market that I'm thinking. So honestly, I think all East Coast teams are off the table. I think it's West Coast or bust for Ronaldo. And the Galaxy would have to get creative. I think there's no chance he would go to LAFC. So it would either be Galaxy. Well, I just think that they're saving that last DP spot for Griezmann. And I think they'd rather have Griezmann than Ronaldo. I think that's because think about
on the pitch. Not
on the pitch. Because think about this. They already had a bad season. What would happen if they sign Ronaldo and he does absolutely shit the bed and is terrible? Think about how chaotic that fan base would be saying, we spent 2 DPs on 2 40-year-old players in Giroud.
I forgot that they got Giroud. Yeah, they can't go after him if they got Giroud already.
Yeah, so I think that would probably not work out. But LA Galaxy already won the MLS Cup. That would be an interesting move. Could you imagine Ronaldo up top, Paints on the left, and Gabriel Peck on the right? How crazy that'd be. And I actually just thought about this when we were talking about it, Danny. Think about this. We're talking about Puig and being out. What if they do sign Ronaldo as a DP, and then this summer they end up selling Gabriel Peck because we know that he's played really well? He could be sold in the summertime, which would open up a DP spot. So maybe they could do that and have Ronaldo and Puig on LA Galaxy this season because they'll end up selling Gabriel Peck.
I would absolutely love to see him in Orlando. Like I said, Galaxy is where I've always imagined him. I see him as very Hollywood. It just fits his personality, in my opinion. But I think Orlando would be my favorite spot. I think that it would be really cool. And look, like somebody said in the comments, the partnership with Disney. Could you imagine that? I mean, Messi already has, and I don't know if you knew this, on Disney Plus, he's going to have an animated series coming out called Messi and the Giants.
Really?
Yes. And Ronaldo in Orlando, come on, you know that there's money to be made there. But again, I don't see him doing it. As much as I would like it, I don't see him doing it just because I don't think that he would want to come over here, seeing as how he talked up the Saudi league over MLS for so long?
Well, let's say he does, right? Let's say he comes over, because they were talking about. I think he's leaving the Saudi league. There's talking about teams like.
Yeah.
It feels like Ronaldo is kind of like putting out these fake rumors to see who would be interested in him, like PSG, and they're like, no, we're good, man. We're more than good. We don't want you. So it feels like at this point, either Ronaldo stays in Saudi, which he kind of seems bored with. Because if he wasn't, wouldn't this deal have already been locked up? I mean, I doubt they're going to pay him more money than they're already paying him. He's already making crazy money. So it feels like right now his options are take a pay cut, stay in the Saudi league, go back to, I think it was a Sporting CP, his childhood club.
Back home? Yeah,
in Portugal, or come to MLS for kind of like his finale and do what everybody expected him to do his whole career, finish his career in Major League Soccer and come to the States. It feels like MLS is the best option. And plus, like you said, 2026, man, Ronaldo is egotistical, self-absorbed. He loves to see his face. How many advertisements do you think we will see in the United States of Ronaldo promoting the World Cup in the United States in 2026, which he will be playing in most likely?
100%. No, and he would love that. And like I said, it would help this grow, and it would help the youth in this country pay attention. Going back to what we talked about at the beginning of the show, iShowSpeed is moving that needle. This is a new time that I'm really trying my best to get accustomed to, where these influencers on YouTube and stuff are influencing the youth and what they like. And he's going to have a lot of the kids tuning in to MLS just to watch Ronaldo. Now, as far as Ronaldo and being here, just to sum it up, I don't know if it would happen. I think it would be great if it did happen. But I know this is going to sound almost like blasphemy, okay? I'm just putting it out there, okay? I'm not saying I believe it. Is there any chance that this move for Ronaldo would be bigger for the MLS domestically than the Messi move? I'm not talking globally, because globally Messi owns the world. But domestically, here in the United States, do you think it would help move the needle in this country a little more to have Ronaldo come over this year?
Yeah, man, I do actually. It's like Ronaldo has all the glitz, the glamour, the name, and he's just in the wrong league to promote that. People in Saudi just don't care about their league, and the people in Europe are like, "Why would I watch the Saudi league when I have all these other leagues that are better? Why would I watch the Saudi league? The domestic talent's not very good. Like, why would I have no sentimental ties to this? I don't want to see it. I don't like Ronaldo that much, but we've seen all these former stars play in MLS, Beckham, Zlatan, Thierry Henry. It's like the status quo for these guys to come over here in the twilight of their career, but they would want to see what he could do. And especially because of Messi, it's like one piece of the puzzle, right? People would want to see what he can do with Messi in this league. But let's just take Messi off the table completely. Let's just say Ronaldo is the only player in this league. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the only one. Messi's not here. I think Ronaldo would be bigger domestically because he's bilingual, he has a big personality, and he just knows how to sell himself. Man, he had a YouTube channel. I'd have to look and see. I'm gonna look this up real quick while we're streaming, but Ronaldo, when he made his YouTube channel, he started from scratch like not even a year ago. He's already got 73 million subscribers, which is crazy.
Yeah, it was the fastest channel that's ever grown in YouTube history. But I mean, he has a huge following on Instagram. Like, I'm sure if Messi started one tomorrow, he'd blow that out of the water.
He would, but it's just
but Messi's not that
content.
guy.
It's different content, right? You know, because Ronaldo's going to talk and he's going to say stuff. And here, like I said, he reminds me of Zlatan. Remember when Zlatan came here in 2019 and he was on Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon or whatever it was, and he was just talking and saying some crazy shit, but everybody was listening to what he had to say. Yeah, like this would be that times 10 because Ronaldo is arguably a top 3 player of all time. It's just different, man. And I think that he will really be able to help this league. I guarantee you, if I'm Don Garber, and everybody knows how I feel about him, I'm doing whatever I can to get this done. I'm letting him pick his team. I'm letting him, I'm writing him a blank check. Because if you do this, like we talk about spending money to make money, man, I just can't even imagine what this would do. iShowSpeed's going to be, like you said, promoting the league. It's like a trickle-down effect. I don't even know how big this could be. But I do know that if you had him And me says he's not top 3, he's top 10. Okay, fine, top 10. It's fine. We're splitting hairs here. But
I'm with me, but okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's top 3, but that's what a lot of people will say he's top 3.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
He, I think that he would just add a little bit different layer to this, man. Like I don't like him, but I want this to happen. I think it's good for the league.
I agree 100%. And that's why I wanted to preface it, because I know we have a lot of Messi fans that watch this, and I'm not saying that it would be bigger, because globally, I'm sorry, nothing's bigger than Messi globally. But in this country, to help this league grow, you need somebody that's going to promote the league on top of being a name. And Messi isn't that guy. He doesn't do interviews, right? Down here in Miami, people were upset because after the MVP trophy win, he didn't have a celebration press conference or anything like that. And you had reporters down here saying that that's silly because all MLS winners that win the MVP do that. But that's not Messi. And we're Messi fans and Inter Miami fans. We don't care. We're fine with that. But we understand that doesn't help the league grow. Ronaldo, like you said, will go on Jimmy Kimmel. He will do his YouTube channels and keep promoting the league. He'll start saying that the MLS is better than the EPL and say nonsense like that. And he'll keep saying stuff like that. And on top of everything else, and I can't preface this enough because I really do think, as silly as it may sound, that the IShowSpeed on top of Ronaldo pushing the league with the millions of subscribers that he has is also going to help. You're going to get a youth movement that never watched the MLS all of a sudden watch, literally, because IShowSpeed is probably doing a reaction video or live streaming the game. Like, this is a bigger move domestically to help grow the MLS than what Messi did globally for the MLS. And I think that that's the best way I could put it.
Well, also, too, we haven't seen both of these guys play in the same league since 2018. And I think that was a big reason why La Liga, obviously they were the linchpins, the most important pieces to both teams of why Madrid and Barca were so good in the 2000s or the teens, right? They were the biggest stars on both teams. That's why many people considered La Liga to be the best league in the world at the time. So having them join the same league for the first time in 7 years, where a lot of people thought they would never be in the same league again, and playing each other a couple times a year, that's just huge, man. That's huge. I could imagine their first game, right? If it was on linear television, let's just say it was on Fox, because there are like one match a week on Fox. Mm-hmm. I could see 10 million people tuning into that.
Yeah,
easily 10 million people.
I 100% agree. And look, Zlatan, as much as I love Ibra and I think that he's funny with the things he says, he's nowhere near the name that Ronaldo and Messi were. But he had people interested. He was the villain. The way he would talk shit to Carlos Vela, it was hilarious. And do you remember his debut? I don't know how many views it got, but it was one of the best debuts of all time, probably only surpassed by the Messi versus Cruz Azul. So I think that to grow the league, this would be the next big move. And I think that this would skyrocket the league in popularity in this country if we were able to get Ronaldo on here.
Would this be the biggest signing in MLS history?
No, Messi was.
Well, that's like internationally, but like we're talking about domestically. That is what matters most. So
the impact on growing the league here, because I think the Messi move grew the league globally. Now you got people from other countries, even our show, Battered Herons. We have people tuning in from Thailand and from South Africa, and we have people from all the time. Like, hey, greetings from here, greetings from there. People from all over the world are now interested in watching the MLS because they want to watch Messi, and hopefully they stick around afterwards. I think Ronaldo helps grow this league domestically. I think people from this country will now be not just interested in the fact that Ronaldo's here, but they know the Ronaldo versus Messi, right? They know Red Sox versus Yankees. They know Magic versus Bird. Like, that would also pique their interest. So I think that there's plenty of reasons why this move would be huge domestically. So I think that, like you just said, domestically, yes, I think it is huge. But I think globally and making the MLS a world brand, nobody could have been bigger than that than Messi.
No, I agree. And, I just want to see it again. I'm a Barca fan. You're a Madrid fan. So I don't know how you feel about Ronaldo. I'm sure you have some sort of respect for him. At least you're neutral on him.
Look, it's like Vinicius. I watched him. I appreciated his greatness because I do think for everybody that hates Ronaldo, you can't tell me that he wasn't great. Like somebody said top 10, I agree, top 10. But top 10 all time in this sport that's been around for 150 years is a big deal. So he was great, but his personality does kind of turn you off a little bit, you know? So once he left Madrid, I didn't go watch Juventus play. I didn't I've never tried to watch. Like, once Ronaldo was gone from Real Madrid, I was good. I never watched him again, and I'm okay with that. But I did appreciate what I watched him do. So that's how I feel about Ronaldo. I was never that guy that when people were arguing Real Madrid, Barcelona, that I was like, no, Ronaldo's better. No, you knew who was better. Like, if you were being honest with yourself, you know Messi was better than Ronaldo always.
Well, we talked a lot about the pros. Is there any cons to this signing? Like, I was talking to Solana earlier today, and I told him that I think that Ronaldo, I don't know if the chat would agree with this, but Danny, I think that Ronaldo might be the most selfish player I've ever watched in soccer. I think he's honestly a pretty bad teammate. He's not even happy when his teammates score. He's pissed that he didn't score.
If he was around the ball and he could have gone to him, I've seen him plenty of times get upset. Yes, 100%. I agree. Now, do you think that with his age at 40, that maybe he's been humbled a little bit with his horrible stint at Manchester United the second time around, and the fact that he is now in the Saudi league, which just announced their best 11 from the season, and he wasn't on it?
Yeah, I mean, he's just such a wild card, right? We just, you would hope that some of that stuff would humble him, but I just don't think that's the way he operates. He's like Zlatan. I think he lives in his own world, and he kind of tunes out anything he doesn't agree with. So I don't know if he would learn from that. And I just wonder what he's going to think when he's we made jokes about when Messi was playing Charlotte, like it was like last year, I think in Leagues Cup, the defender he was going against was only making like $65K a year or something like that. What is Ronaldo going to think when a guy's out and his winger is some guy that was drafted like 2 years ago and he's like making $80K and he's not making the right run or the right pass?
I don't know. If he played in the Saudi league, I'm sure he's ready for, like, I mean, I guess he had good teammates because they spent a lot of money.
At least the attack,
teams.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's different, right? I mean, there's some guys that aren't going to be as good, and how is he going to handle some random guy making $80K, which is not much for soccer by soccer standards, right? Especially Ronaldo's making $200 million a year. Well, I mean, how's he going to act? How's he going to treat this guy? What's he going to say to him when he makes a bad pass? Your boy Julian Gressel, Mr. Heavy Right Foot, right? It was so funny. I saw a picture. Maybe it's old, but it's about your AirPods. You know how like each AirPod has like a charge, like different percentage.
Yeah.
Like one of them was 100% on the right earbud, and the left earbud was 0. Like that's Julian Gressel with his right and left foot. Yeah, exactly. What's he gonna do when he can't make a pass with his left foot? How is he gonna? And is that going to make people upset?
If Ronaldo were to come. Well, a couple of things. If Ronaldo were to come, I think he'd do what Messi did, and he'd bring some people over. Like, I was talking to my brother earlier today, and we're like, Marcelo should come to this league. Marcelo, I think, still has enough left in the tank. And he's like, why doesn't Miami go after him? I was like, Miami already has Jordi Alba. They don't need him. But if Ronaldo were to come, he could bring Marcelo with him down that left side. Like, I think that he would bring some people with him. That Sergio Ramos that can't find the home right now, you could probably convince somebody to bring Sergio Ramos, and he probably wouldn't play center back. He could play center defensive mid here. Like, I think that Ronaldo would bring some people with him because it's like, a curtain call for him and his boys. Now, I don't know how many boys he actually has compared to Messi, because everybody loves Messi in Barcelona. Argentina all love him. I don't know if Joe Kerr's still here. I believe Joe Kerr is Portuguese, so maybe he could tell me if the love for Ronaldo in Portugal is the same or anywhere similar to the love that Argentinians have for Messi. But I mean, I'm sure he could bring some people with him.
Yeah, I think he could. And I think they have got to, I'm going to keep posting about how they should go for this. I've been, ramping up the tweets, and, I don't know if it's making an impact, but I'm hoping that getting the word out will kind of spread the message and maybe try to push for this and let people know that this is something they want to happen. And me and you both know you have a pretty, heavy Miami base, or people that like Messi, at least, that watch the show, who hate his guts. But like we've talked about all night, I think that they would admit they would want him here. And here's the thing, even if you hate Ronaldo's guts, wouldn't you want Messi to have an opportunity to embarrass him in Major League Soccer? Wouldn't that make you happy? Like, why would you not want to see that? Because there's always the debate of like, is Saudi better than MLS? We know it's not better than MLS, but this would put that to rest. And I wonder how many goals would he score in MLS? What would Ronaldo be able to do in MLS?
I think Ronaldo would have a similar season, and some people might think it's blasphemy, but I think he would have a similar season to Luis Suarez. I think
so.
He could still put up those numbers. He can get between 15 and 20 goals. And everybody's going to play through him. That's what the team would be doing. They'd be playing through him. I don't know who his teammates would be, but I think everybody would play through him. And I think that Ronaldo would do great here. And here in Miami, I mean, obviously when you go on the road, it's different. But here in Miami, the ticket sales have kind of dropped, right? It's not a must-see ticket anymore because you see Messi all the time now, right? So it's not as expensive as it was the first couple games. But could you imagine the prices for that first Messi-Ronaldo game? That would be ridiculous.
More than the Super Bowl.
Possibly because the stadium's a lot smaller. So it would be absolutely ridiculous. And I think everybody would love to see that just one more time, right? Everybody was excited when PSG played Juventus, I think in Champions League. It didn't really live up to the hype. But could you imagine watching them on the pitch just one more time? I would personally love it. And I'm hoping that it happens.
Yeah, and I know that you obviously have your fandom for Miami, but you're trying to get more to a league perspective, like just anything that can help the league
to grow. Yeah, man, I want the league to grow.
And that's why I think it has to happen. Look, if the LA Galaxy or San Diego are able to sign him, if LAFC are able to sign Griezmann, Messi's at Miami, having these stars in the league spread out will just help the league so much because it gives you and me a reason to watch other games, which we try to anyways. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
especially with the staggered schedule this year, it's going to be a lot easier.
Exactly. Yeah. It's going to be something that's more appealing to people to try to like, hey, I watched Messi play at 7:30 tonight. I got to go watch Ronaldo play at 10:30 tonight. I got to go watch the Galaxy. Oof. Yeah. Wouldn't that be a great night? Like, awesome. I said our wives aren't going to be happy about it, but, we'll be happy at least in the time. And hopefully there's no divorces over it. But yeah, man, I think that or Neymar, Neymar is kind of picking up back to Miami. Like those rumors are starting to ramp up again. You get Neymar, Ronaldo, and Griezmann to MLS in 2025, Danny. I don't see how this league can't increase their popularity significantly by 2026. I mean, we should see crazy levels, man.
Well, and what needs to come with that is with the growth. We need to see an increase in because you and I have had this debate. You and Solana say, F the salary, just let them spend whatever they want. I'm against that. I like the parity, but to an extent, like the fact that we only give the salaries $5 million, $5.5 million. That's absolutely ridiculous for a professional franchise. Like it needs to be at least 20, 25, 30. Like we need to shoot that up way high. You got way higher than what it is right now. We need some big changes. And you and I talked about possibly doing a Copa Libertadores episode. Will already did one though, so go check that out if you haven't already. If they wanted to join a tournament like that and do it consistently, I'm sorry, you want to compete. And if you want to compete, you need to have a deep roster and a good roster all the way around because those Copa Libertadores teams are the real deal. Now, and for those real quick, and for those people that say that MLS talent-wise doesn't belong there, MLS teams could beat some Venezuelan teams. They could beat some Ecuadorian teams, some Bolivian teams, some Peruvian teams. They could beat a lot of the Colombian teams. So I understand the Argentinian and the Brazilian leagues. That's a different story. But the MLS could compete. Liga MX had 3 finalists. They had 3 teams make it to the final of the Copa Libertadores. So, that's a story for another day. Check out Will's episode on Copa Libertadores. I believe you had Fabian on for that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so check that out if you haven't already. All right, go ahead.
I was just going to say about the Libertadores, people saying, just real quick, why would MLS and Liga MX join? It doesn't help the league. That's like saying you're not going to add any players to Miami because they're not better than Messi. Like that's not what it is. Like, we can't add this guy. He's not better than Messi. That's not going to help us. Okay, well, MLS and Liga MX would automatically be the third and fourth best league in that tournament. So everybody who's third and fourth now would be pushed down one level, right? Yes, it's going to make it better. Like, why would you not want that? It helps everybody out.
A couple things to that. One, I think that would force the owners and Don Garber and everybody to say, you know what, we need to increase the salary because this is a serious competition. If it's a permanent thing, right? If it's a one and done, like it's the Messi Invitational, we just want him to play in Argentina a couple games, then that's a different story. But if it's a permanent addition, it would make that happen. CONMEBOL, it's the second biggest tournament, I think, in the world.
Yeah.
But nobody really talks about it outside of South Americans. All of a sudden, you get Messi involved, and that's a lot of publicity and eyes for them. So they want this to happen also, because that's huge for them. And then third, could you imagine having some of those players come over to the United States and having to play in Miami and take a drive around Miami, see the facilities, and know, hey, you know what? Instead of going to River Plate or Boca, maybe I can make a stop over here before I go to Europe. Like, there's so many reasons why this is good. Now, logistically, I think it's impossible unless you have like a hub. Because if you're going to tell Boca Juniors to travel from Argentina all the way to Seattle on a Wednesday, it's a nightmare. So I think they would have to make like a hub somewhere in Orlando or Miami, so like a middle ground, which I think would suck. But I think that would be the only way that would work.
It could work, you know. I mean, they play the championship game in the UEFA Champions League is always in a neutral spot, right? It's never in a home stadium. It's normally the finals in a neutral spot, so you can be creative with some, you know, certain ways of doing it. Also, too, if MLS ever did spend more, and let's say they were a top 6 league, Brazil is already a top 7 league, so we have 2 top 7 teams in the same Champions League. That's the only way we're ever going to really try to catch UEFA Champions League. Only way is if we combine,
and they won't.
They won't, but that's the only way. And how many people have we heard over the years say, "Oh, they shouldn't come here because of Champions League. They shouldn't. They're not going to play in Champions League anymore."
Oh yeah, they all the time, right? And that's what. And when they're thinking about going to a team, they're like, "Oh, but they're not in Champions League next year." Even in South America, no, they're not in Libertadores next year. And that's something that you hear often. The reason I believe Luis Suarez went to Gremio is because they were playing in Libertadores. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was one of the reasons that
they also offer him quite a bit of money too, I think.
I mean, that always helps. Yeah. But those tournaments are really important for these players, because even more than the domestic league, those are the big championships outside of the obvious World Cup and Copa America. As far as clubs go, those are the biggest ones. So I think that's a big deal.
Do you think that, I don't think we addressed this, do you think that Ronaldo, if he did come this summer, would that kind of inject a little bit more excitement into the Leagues Cup? Yeah.
Depends, because the team that he chooses might not be in it, right? It's only 18 teams. But absolutely. Because as much, look, I know you don't like the current calendar. I like it because I like summer football. But that is the only positive to that summer window, is that when they debut in this tournament where they play like every 3 or 4 days. So it's like you get like a big fix of this new player. And I think that is really cool. And if you were to come in the summer, I'm sure it's going to be juicy. And I'm hearing that there's going to be some players coming in the summer that are going to be very exciting. So it's definitely something to look out for.
I hope so, man. I hope so. I was looking back before I did my episode I always compare every year what happened, you know, transfers, player movement, just to kind of see like where we were a year ago, not just like transfer fees, but just like activity. And I think that this transfer season's been a little slower than last year, maybe just because some teams have been busy and there's been a lot of movement, like having to get rid of certain players. Like Miami's had to trade a bunch of guys or buy people out or decide if they want to re-sign Matias Rojas or whatever it may be.
They're opening up the money. They got money to spend.
Yeah, so I think that they're just figuring that all out, and then they're playing to spend it. And then they're also kind of like, should I sign this guy or should I wait till the summer and maybe get that guy? Which one's going to be better? Like, they're kind of figuring out which one's better for them long term. But I do think that Miami and definitely not the Sounders. The Sounders, I don't know what the hell they're doing. But Miami, I think, is going to try to spend most of their resources now to compete for the Club World Cup, which that is another thing that we talk about as far as like looking good and trying to help the league, is they need a good performance there.
Have you heard about this mini transfer window that the MLS might try to open up before the Club World Cup?
No, I haven't actually. No, are they talking about like in between the league?
Yeah, it's just to let new players come in, I guess, before the Club World Cup. I can't imagine that would actually fly, because that would be strictly a Miami rule. So I can't imagine that would fly. But well, actually, I meant to ask you, Marcus Rashford, what do you think about that whole Marcus Rashford to the Seattle Sounders?
Well, so I think Ben Jacobs is the one who reported for like Give Me Sport, I think is his publication. He's pretty credible, but then some local Sounders journalists were saying that that's not true. So it's like the national media guy versus the local guy. Who do you believe? Now, if you want to know what I think about if that signing happened, let's just say it did, right? I mean, they want MLS to pay his salary. I don't think Marcus Rashford's a big enough name to where they should be giving him the Messi treatment, right? I mean, nobody's paying for Apple TV to watch Marcus Rashford, right?
No.
So
Manchester United fans don't pay to watch that guy.
Right, exactly. So I mean, it's cool, but it's like not worth that. Like if they signed him on their own accord and paid his salary, cool. That sounds good. I don't think it's going to happen. It doesn't really get me excited, man. He just seems like a above average Premier League player, an overrated Manchester United player. Why would we want him? I mean, we'd want him, but not for that price.
I'm gonna put something right here on screen. It's a couple players that, as of right now, right, because they could still re-sign with their clubs, but as of right now, when the summer comes, they'll be available. Do you think any of these players might end up in the MLS, or would you like to see any of them? Obviously, there's some that we would love to see, but I just, which one do you think there's any chance? I'll tell you right now. I think De Bruyne and Dybala are both possibilities here in the MLS.
I think Gundogan is a player that could also come here.
How old is he already?
34. He's 1 year older than Kevin De Bruyne. I think that Dybala, De Bruyne, and Gundogan could definitely come here. Manuel Neuer, he's like 30. He'll be 39 this year, man. I don't know if they really. I don't think they want him, honestly. Now, Davies, I mean, I think he's destined to go to Madrid, right? I think
he's not coming here.
Yeah, I would say that there's probably 3 players. Now, Kimmich is interesting, but I think that probably De Bruyne, Gundogan, and Dybala are probably the only 3 that.
Trent Alexander isn't coming.
No,
I see a lot of people. Van Dijk isn't coming. Salah for sure isn't coming.
Hell no. No.
Now I saw some people talking about Son from the Spurs. Now I don't know. Maybe. And I actually saw somebody say Son to Miami. I don't see that happening. I mean, if they want to go the promotional route, I'm sure that would help a lot with the Asian population. But and Justin Blair chiming in here, De Bruyne eats Skyline.
Yeah, you like some Skyline chili?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, and there's an interesting name on the bench too, Jonathan David. I mean, that would be the Canadian international. I think that. What club was it? There was a club that really wasn't that exciting. That were rumored to be bidding between 10 to 15 million for him. And I'm thinking, damn, Danny, if someone's willing to pay that, Toronto FC, what are you doing? Like, step up to the plate, get your boy. Like, that's
that would be
domestic international.
That would be a great move. Yeah,
and they need a striker bad. They got a DP spot open. They haven't been able to get anybody who can score goals consistently since probably Sebastian Jovinko. That would be a great signing, man. And he's only like 26 years old. That is somebody that I could see also like kind of a dark horse, Jonathan David, man. That'd be a great signing.
And real quick, Gil, man, this Son seems like a Sounders player. I don't know why. I could see it. Now, with the whole Jonathan David thing, wouldn't you think that Canadians would go the same route as the U.S. men's national team fans that are saying that they don't want to see McKinney come here to play for Cincinnati because they don't want him to lose quality or whatnot? You don't think somebody coming over that young that the fans would not want that to happen?
Well, I think it's a little different because I don't think the Canadian national team is as up in arms as the USMNT about their players. I think they're a little bit more relaxed. I don't think they're going to...
I don't keep up with the Canadian national team. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I try not to, but I think they're pretty more relaxed. Like, they're not going to burn the house down because Jonathan David comes to Toronto FC. I think they might actually be excited about that. Now, if it's USMNT, I mean, there'd be boycotts, riots in the street. I mean, it'd be crazy. The local Wendy's would be taken over. So I don't think that's the case with the Canadian national team. And they would love to see him play in Toronto. I think they would like to be able to watch him play. And as long as he's playing good, I think that's all that really matters, right? I mean, I think that we overestimate what league you're playing in and don't value enough of how you're playing in the league. Like, if Jonathan David's scoring 20 goals a game, 20 goals a year in MLS, why would anyone be upset with that? Like, that means he's playing really well.
I agree. Look, Cucho finally started getting the call up not when he was playing and not producing much in Europe, but when he came to Columbus and started balling out. Yeah, he hasn't gotten on the pitch very much, but he's getting the call up now. So I agree that you make a great point. Somebody's asked, what about Salah? Salah is not coming here. He's the only one on this that I could see would go to Saudi.
Yeah, because culturally, right? I mean, it's obviously he's a Muslim faith, a Muslim nation. I think that they're going to pay him more money than anyone would probably ever be able to pay him. It just seems more. I think that's why a lot of people like Conte and Benzema went there. Just culturally was a better fit for them, and I think that Salah would probably fall in line with that.
And Justin Blair saying Salah to Juve is his prediction.
That'd be interesting.
I think he ends up in Saudi. Real Madrid already got shut down for the Trent Alexander thing, but I do think Alphonso Davies ends up in Real Madrid.
I don't think Salah will ever play for another Premier League team. I think he's Liverpool and done. So like if you take all the Premier League teams off the table, I don't think he's going to Madrid because he wouldn't start over Rodrigo. I don't think he would. He's not going to go play for Barca because he wouldn't start over Yamal. His options are kind of limited unless he stays with Liverpool. Now he could stay with Liverpool, but I think he's going to Saudi if he leaves. The Premier League.
I agree. He might stay, but I think that he goes to Saudi. All right. So one last time. Of all these players on this list, biggest probability of being in the MLS next summer?
De Bruyne.
If you got to pick just one. I agree. I was going to go De Bruyne also. I think De Bruyne is in the MLS next season. So
which team? Which team would you say?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of people say San Diego, right? I think Miami would be nice. But
Miami, I mean that would be crazy.
It would just be out of the norm, right? Because we're going so South American that having him there, I don't know. But
there'd be some crazy investigations too.
And De Bruyne to NYCFC. Okay.
You want to hear something crazy about that?
See that?
There hasn't been one Manchester City player, like a prominent player, not one Manchester City player moved to New York City FC in their entire existence of their career. Now, some people say Frank Lampard. Technically, Frank Lampard was a New York City FC player first, and they loaned him to Man City so he could play. Then he ended up staying. But like Yaya Toure, Sergio Aguero, Eden Dzeko, none of those guys through the years, David Silva, none of those guys who were always rumored to come to New York City FC, none of them ever ended up coming over.
But they did have NYCFC players go over to Manchester City, though.
Yeah.
Well, it's working one way, but not the other. The way that.
But wouldn't you have thought at least one guy, just one, like Yaya Toure or David Silva, just one guy? It's crazy. None of them came.
And then that's why I guess the De Bruyne thing makes the most sense. So I guess I would say NYCFC.
I think
that makes
honestly,
the most sense.
I honestly think they didn't want to play in the baseball. They didn't want to play in the Yankee Stadium. They didn't want to play in your team's stadium for soccer, man. But I think once they get that soccer specific stadium, it'll change. But I think that's probably why none of them wanted to come over.
I mean, I could see that. It has to be such a pain in the ass to play in such a tight pitch. And like players hate playing on the road there. I can imagine having to play there for home games all the time.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Will, I think that is it. Unless you can think of any other rumors that we haven't touched on. I think we've covered just about everything. And I think we all agree that Ronaldo needs to come. Now, will it happen? I don't know. But that would be awesome. Ronaldo and De Bruyne would be crazy. And together, that would be sick.
Yeah, I'd say that hopefully it happens. It would be just, even if it's a failure, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, I want to see what happens. You know, it's like a car wreck. You can't turn your head. You got to watch what happens.
For sure.
But yeah, I hope it happens, man. He says no Pogba news. I don't think Pogba's coming to MLS. I really don't. I think he's going to be somewhere in Europe. I think he's just training here.
I think if he was coming, we would have heard more noise. At least here locally, we would have heard more noise about it. But I haven't heard anything about Pogba joining the team. And he's taking pictures with Messi in restaurants. Like, it's been everywhere, but we haven't heard any rumors. I've heard a lot more about Neymar getting traction than Pogba. So I wouldn't put any weight on any Pogba news.
Before we leave, what are your chances right now out of 10 or 100? We'll make it easier. Out of 100, what do you think the chances are that Neymar comes to Miami by the summertime?
This season? Because if it's 2026, I'd say 100%. But you're saying this season?
By latest time this summer. They're talking about maybe the winter, but I'm even giving to the summertime.
I hate to cop out, but I think 50-50. I know it's a cop out, but that's where I'm at. I've always said it since we started the show. 2026, Neymar will open that stadium with Messi. I will die on that sword until it doesn't happen. But when they started talking about it happening this season, that caught me off guard. I don't see why he would come so quickly. I don't see where he fits. But I mean, the rumblings are there, so maybe it's a possibility. Because there's so many rumblings there, that's why I go 50-50. But I always thought that it would happen in 2026.
Well, we texted about this, like the designation, the 4U22s, the 2 DPs, you can change that, as long as you're compliant and you don't have 3 DPs and 4U22s. They have a DP spot open. They only have 3U22s because they sold Gomez. They could do it right now. As long as they could get a fee worked out or he's a free transfer and they pay him the salary he wants, they could get him right now. There's no roadblocks preventing them from getting him. It's a matter of if they can get his current club to let him go or sell him or whatever it may be, and he wants to come here. I would say that I'm probably 50-50 for the winter, and I'm probably 75 for the summer. I think they really want. We've heard Jorge Mas say how many times that there is no limitation of what I'm willing to spend. I will spend everything I possibly can on this team within MLS's limits to make a winner, right? And I don't think money is going to be an issue. I think he will pay him whatever he wants to come here. Well, not whatever he wants, but whatever it takes to get him here. And I think that they want him for the Club World Cup. They want that 3-headed monster that we haven't seen since 2017. Dude, that is crazy. It's been 8 years since we've seen Neymar, Suarez, and Messi play up top with each other. That's crazy.
Well, I don't think Suarez is playing in 2026. So yeah, if they want the MSN reunion, I think it would have to be this year.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to see that in the Club World Cup. I want to see what would happen. And, Neymar's playing his part perfectly by tanking, making it look like he's washed. So that way his value goes down. They can help him out. But I want to see that, man.
The thing is, the window doesn't open up until July again. And by then, we are halfway through the Club World Cup. Yeah. So I don't know if he were to join us in the summertime, I don't even think he could participate in the Club World Cup.
I wonder if what you said earlier about that MLS
that random window. Look,
yeah.
I know MLS fans, and I'm sorry guys, but we know that they're helping Miami out here and there. It's just what's happening, because they're trying to do what's best for the league. I know you don't want to hear it, but I get it. Because, for example, the year that Messi came, in January, they assigned numbers. They left the number 5 and number 10. Nobody had those numbers. People start thinking, what's going on? And all of a sudden, right before the season starts, Pizarro comes back from loan. He's our third DP. And they start announcing, by the way, that whole buyout that you need to buy out the players before the season starts, we're changing that this season. Now you can buy them out in the summertime. And everybody thought, okay, so Pizarro's going to get bought off in the summer. Like, you can finagle things to make things work. So I don't think rules would get too much in the way. And if they want Neymar to be a part of the Club World Cup, maybe they will give us that random week window right before to begin June. I think you would hear an uproar on social media because everybody's already. I've seen people say, "Oh, I can't wait till Messi leaves, and I can get my nice peaceful MLS back." You already want your peaceful MLS back? Like, is that what you really want? I want this league to grow.
Well, and you got to think about this too. If they were able to pull off MSN, that would be not only the biggest stars on one MLS team in history. I mean, they're joining elite ranks of 3 biggest stars on a team in world football history.
100%.
I mean, they're up there. I mean, obviously Madrid and Barca and some Premier League teams going to have them beat, but they're joining elite company. No team in South America, most teams in Europe have never had 3 players of that quality on one team. I mean, we're talking about if Ronaldo's number 2 name recognition in the world, because we agree he's at least number 2 behind Messi. Neymar's number 3. Neymar is closer to Ronaldo and Messi than
football.
In football, yes. Neymar is probably the 3rd best player of this generation, I think, in the Messi and Ronaldo
that era. Yeah.
Yes.
That era that's coming to an end for sure. I agree.
He's the 3rd best player. So to have 2 of those guys on one team is crazy, man. It's crazy.
Just picture this. Picture this right now. The summertime comes around. We got Messi, Suarez, and Neymar in Miami. You have Ronaldo out on the West Coast. You have De Bruyne up in NYCFC. You got Atlanta who's spending money. Who knows what they could bring? Like, there's some big names. I mean, you want them to be younger. I get it. but it's happening little by little, and that would be huge. Could you imagine this summer, all those names in this league leading up to the 2026 World Cup? I mean, that's where the goal is, and hopefully we can make it happen, because I think that would help this league grow immensely.
You know what else it helps too? And I'll finish off on this. One thing that helps too, Danny, is like playing next to these guys. Most people that watch the game internationally don't know who most of our players are. They don't know. They don't know who Cucho Hernandez is, or Hani Mukhtar, or whoever, Lucho Acosta. They don't know who they are. But when you get Messi and Ronaldo playing, these average people watching, these average viewers, they're like, think about Robert Taylor. Nobody knew who he was.
I was just about to say that he was the most Googled player for like a week.
Yes, exactly. So like they're lifting people and helping people. It's hard to be interested in the league where you don't know any of the players, right? Because you're kind of like, it's like watching a movie where you don't know any of the actors. Like it's hard to get into it, but if it's someone familiar, it can kind of get like be a gateway in for you to like have interest in what's going on. So having some of these guys in here to build up the names and then passing it on. So like everybody who's watching, if Messi left Inter Miami now, people are still going to know who Robert Taylor is. If he left right now. So, like, he's built our Drake Callender, man. How many people were on Drake Callender's hype train because of his Leagues Cup performance? And they watched him play with Messi.
And let me preface this by saying I'm not criticizing him, right? Because I think this player does have potential. But do you think if Kremaki was playing for the Chicago Fire, that he would have been called to the U.S. men's national team or to the sub-20 or 22s, whatever it is, the U23? I don't think Kremaki gets that if he doesn't have the attention on him when he started balling out next to Messi in Leagues Cup, when he was scoring those crucial big-time goals and you come off the bench. I think that helps all the players on the pitch. And like you said, that's another benefit to having the Apple deal, which I know you hate, and just in general, the names.
I don't hate it. I'm just disappointed because it's just not doing what we needed to do. But what about, would Diego Gomez have sold for $20 million if he wasn't playing next to Messi?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't either. So that helps, right? I mean, that there's a what do you call it? The Messi inflation or the Ronaldo inflation, like help raise some prices. I think that I think that could be a beneficial thing, and that's why we need to get these guys spread out, so that way people are watching LAFC, New York City, whoever it may be, or even, this is a crazy thing, Miami, when they're playing Colorado, some Miami fans might not know any players in Colorado, but now when they watch them, like, oh, hey, Jordi Mihalovic, that guy's pretty good, or Zach Steffen's not bad.
Zach Steffen's still there, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that, I mean, it kind of, it's like a rising tide lifting all boats, man. So let's hope that this is a great transfer window in January. Let's hope it's good in the summer. Let's get some names in here. Let's hopefully get more interest. Let's get Penaldo in here, as the people call him. Let's get iShowSpeed's boy in here. Yep. And let's see what happens, man. Hopefully, I think that 2025 is going to be a crazy year for soccer, especially MLS.
If you get Ronaldo and iShowSpeed on board with the MLS, those two names will help exponentially this league grow. So, hopes for that. All right, Will, appreciate you coming in here, hanging out for the last hour, talking Ronaldo and MLS. Let everybody know where they can find you if they haven't already.
Always a pleasure. Guys, if you haven't, like the stream down below, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Battered Herons, and subscribe to Battered MLS for great
Alejandro's
content.
Here is telling us that we got to have you. We haven't had you on the Battered Herons yet, have we?
I don't think so, no.
All right, we got to have you on. We're going to have to figure something out
in the near future. I might make a special guest appearance on the Battered Herons. But yeah, I appreciate you for having me on. I think it's a record 3 in a row. So that's the new record for appearances. We'll see who
Actually, I think Edgar from LA Galaxy, just because I had him on every week because they kept winning.
Oh, the Galaxy. Gotcha. did he do 3 in a row though?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're tied then, right?
You need a fourth.
I need a fourth. Okay. Well, maybe I'll be on the next one just to break the record and hold the title. But yeah, man, I appreciate what you do. Happy to call you my friend. Love what you're doing to help the league grow. And you guys can follow me on Twitter, as you can see, at MLS Moves, and you can subscribe to my channel at MLS Moves as well. I put all kinds of MLS content. I made a video about Copa Libertadores. Should MLS move to Netflix? All kinds of different things. I got good guests on, like Danny, like Solana. I had Chris on for an episode. So I appreciate you having me on, and until next time.
Yeah, man, it's always fun chopping it up with you, and I appreciate your input always. It's always fun. If you are listening on audio, we appreciate you listening all the way to the end. Please leave us 5 stars, comment, review, all that other good stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, like, share, tell your people that there's another MLS podcast out there. And for those of you in the chat, as always, you guys are the best part of the show. We appreciate you hanging out with us for the last hour and 5 minutes, and we'll be back next week. See if I can make a more consistent schedule with the MLS show now that the holidays are over. So until the next one, have a good one.